Welcome. In this video, I'm sharing 10 things that you should never do with your retirement money. I might add extra, and we have like around 12 or 13, but don't lose me here. And there's one thing that nobody tells you when you're about to retire, that right after you retire is when your money becomes the most vulnerable than it has ever been. And most people assume that once they have saved enough, once they have invested enough, they are very safe. Well, they are not. Because the mistakes that people make with retirement money don't happen before retirement. They actually happen after it. And by the time many people realize, it's normally too late. So today in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 12 or 13 things that you should never do with your retirement money. Some of these will shock you. Some of them, you've already done them or you are doing them. But at the end of the day, you will have a new realization and a learned lesson on what you ought not to do with your retirement money. Now, these aren't rare situations. These are patterns. And the sad thing is that the people who fall into these patterns and traps are often the most hardworking, the most responsible, and they just didn't have the right information. So, thing number one, never cash out too early. The first and perhaps most costly mistake that people find themselves in is cashing out your retirement savings before you are supposed to, too early, that is. Now, when you cash out too early, something happens. You lose the power of compound interest. You may face heavy tax deductions and you end up paying penalties on top of that. Think of your retirement money like a fruit tree. You cut it down today and you can get firewood and charcoal. But if you let it grow and give you some babies, then you get fruits. Each and every season, you harvest fruits. This season, next season, and the next season for the rest of your life. Early withdrawal is cutting the tree down. Mistake number two, never use your nest egg, your retirement money, as startup capital to start a business or to fund a business. This is also one of those common mistakes that people find themselves in, especially those who retire with energy, with ambition, and they have always wanted to do a business, which they have never done priorly. So they take a lump sum of their retirement money and they channel it into a business, into a new venture. And all of a sudden, that money goes under. Using your retirement savings to fund a business from scratch is extremely risky. Now, the statistics are very clear that most new businesses fail within the first 5 years. And so, if your business fails, you don't just lose your investment, you lose your financial foundation that you've spent years or decades building. So, don't use your retirement money to fund or to start a new business. Mistake number three, never be too conservative or too aggressive, either sides of the spectrum. People tend to go to one of these extremes after retiring, and both are very dangerous. Some people are too conservative, and this means that they put everything in a savings account or under the mattress and slowly watch as inflation eats away that money. Inflation robs you the value of your money every single day. If your money is not growing at least at the rate of inflation, you are getting poorer every single day without spending a single coin. Why? Because inflation is eating away your money. But also being too aggressive means chasing high returns through volatile investments. Crypto, speculative stocks, or get rich quick schemes, they make you lose your money very fast. So the right approach is having a balance. We'll not go deeper into that. Mistake number four, never ignore tax planning. Taxes don't stop when you retire. In fact, for many people, a poor tax strategy in retirement can cost them more than any single bad investment. So, depending on how your retirement funds are structured, whether in taxable accounts or tax deferred accounts or tax free accounts, the order in which you withdraw can make massive difference to how much money you keep. So, never ignore tax planning. Mistake number five, Never overspend in early years of retirement. The advice that we always give out when you're training people for retirement planning sessions, the first 3 to 5 years, don't use the lump sum, the money that you've invested. So the first 2 years of your retirement period are the most dangerous of your finances. Why? Because you are finally free. You finally feel free. You have the money, you have the time, and you have the energy, and that's a powerful combination, and potentially most expensive combination at the same time. This is when people make big international trips, renovate their houses, or some build their homes, buy new cars, host family celebration, and none of those things are wrong. The problem is that you are doing all of them at once without a structured budget, without a steady income flow because you are no longer employed. Retirement can last between 20 to 25, sometimes 30 years. So the money that you spend in the first 5 years has to be funded by what is supposed to last you 3 decades. So pace yourself, build a clear annual budget, and stick to it. Mistake number 6, never neglect healthcare cost. Healthcare is one of the biggest and most underrated expenses in retirement. And the rate at which the cost of health increases is even faster or higher than the rate of inflation. And most people budget for housing, for food, for travel, for weddings. And very few people properly budget for medical bills and long-term care. And that is where the problem is, because should anything happen, then you'll be forced to liquidate all your investments to fund your healthcare. 2 things that I always say when it comes to healthcare. Number 1, healthcare and health costs don't respect budgets. So you need a medical fund to take care of that. Number 2, a single illness can wipe away 20 or 30 years of your investment. So plan for it specifically. Don't assume that your budget will generally cover it. Healthcare deserves its own line item, and ideally its own dedicated fund, a medical fund. Mistake number 7, never build a big expensive house with retirement money. Now, there's no glory, listen to me carefully, there's no glory in building a big house after retirement. I'm not advising you on building a house, but I'm specifically talking to you on your finances. This is something that is deep. It's a cultural in many parts of the world. And the idea that a big and impressive home is the ultimate symbol of wealth and life well lived. And there's nothing wrong with that. But wanting a beautiful home or upgrading to a larger house using your retirement savings is a financial trap that most people do not see coming. A large home means high maintenance cost, repairs, utilities, proper taxes, and those expenses are ongoing. And what they do is that they drain your savings year after year. And unlike liquid investment, a house doesn't pay you back. It's actually a liability. So if you want to invest properly, there are some smarter ways that you should consider. Mistake number 8, never lend retirement money to friends or family and expect it back. This is controversial, and it's the most emotionally difficult one on the list, but it needs to be said. When people retire with visible savings, they often become the financial safety net for everyone around them: family, friends, cousins, siblings, people starting business, people taking their children to school. You are visible because you have been working. But lending your money, retirement money, is a risk that most people can't afford to, to take. The challenge is not whether the person you are lending is trustworthy. The challenge is that retirement money, once gone, is extremely hard to replace because you are no longer earning. So, if you want to help, plan for it intentionally and set aside a generosity fund separate from your retirement savings so that when someone borrows, use that particular allocation. Never compromise the core foundation of your financial security, no matter who is asking. No one will tell you that. Mistake number 9, never invest in businesses or assets that you don't understand. There's a saying that If you can't explain your investment or your assets to a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, then you probably don't understand it. If Don't invest because someone told you it's a great opportunity. Retirees are frequently targeted by investment schemes, by complex financial products or products, and they are well-meaning, but people are ill-informed. If you can't explain exactly how the investment makes money, who is responsible for it, and what risks are involved, don't put your shilling in it. Understanding your Understanding is your protection when it comes to investing, especially in retirement. Mistake number 10: never withdraw all your retirement money at once. Taking out your retirement money or your retirement fund in one lump sum feels empowering. You've got money, you've got 10 million to 15 million. You look at the numbers and the biggest amount of money that you have ever held in your hand. And the temptation is to have full control over it. And money that's not planned for, money that's not given direction, will always find its way, and you'll not like where it goes. Because lump sum can trigger massive tax liabilities in a single financial year. Number two, lump sum can prompt impulse purchases. Lump sum can prompt unplanned purchases. So have a structured withdrawal plan. Mistake number 11: never continue with the same spending habits you had while employed. When you are working, your spending was supported by regular income. You received 50,000, 100,000, then it's going to cover A, B, C, D. Every month, more money came in. Now, in retirement, you are drawing from a fixed pool. The income stops refilling that particular pool. And many retirees continue with the same lifestyle, the same dining out, the same subscription, the same shopping habits, and the same living without adjusting for the fact that there's no salary coming in on a regular basis to replenish what is being taken out. So, retirement is not a pause of life, it's a completely different financial chapter. So, you need to have a look at your spending habits before retirement and after retirement. Mistake number 12: never retire without a written financial plan. This is one of those mistakes that people do. Yes, it sounds basic, but the majority of retirees do not have a written structured financial plan for their retirement years. They don't know how much money they're spending the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, etc. They have a number in their head, they have a rough idea of what they want to do, but they haven't sat down and mapped professionally. I'm going to have this amount of money. I'm going to use to allocate it this way, this way, this way. How much money can I withdraw per month? What happens if there's a medical emergency? What's my inflation strategy? What do I have to leave behind? And when you don't do that, when you don't have a plan, your money will go anywhere. Mistake number 13: never neglect your mental and emotional relationship with money. The final mistake is what nobody talks about, and it might be the most important. Retirement brings a dramatic shift in identity, in who you are and who you currently are. And for decades, you were productive, you were earning, contributing, and suddenly, even if by choice the role changes, this shift can trigger anxiety, can trigger fear, or it can paradoxically or recklessly spending as a way to feel alive again. So some retirees are so afraid of running out of money that they refuse to spend anything, and they end up miserable despite being financially secure. So your relationship with money during retirement is emotional, not mathematical. Understand your own money psychology. Understand your fears, your habits, your triggers, and how you relate with money. We've done a video on money personalities. I'll leave it at the end of this video. So, retirement is not the end of the journey, it's the beginning of an entire new career or new phase. So, those are the things that you should never do. There might be others, but these are the core ones, the ones that are repeatedly occur in our trainings and in our workshops. If you need one-on-one coaching on retirement planning or employee training or workshops, reach out to us and we'll make that happen. Take care of your money today, because your money needs to take care of you for a very long period of time. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.